A guy who you were surprised with, pleasantly surprised when you watched the film on him, pleasantly surprised on Brock Purdy. You will not say the same about my guy, Jared Goff, who is also in this tier, because you knew what you were going to get with Jared Goff. Will you say this at least?
Yeah.
Was he number 11 in your rankings, just outside the top 10?
100%.
Number 11, okay.
So, I mean, he was a tough one to where, 9, 10, 11, he was in the running there. Okay? He was. I mean, Jared Goff, arguably the toughest pocket passer in all of football in the NFL. That's what I would say. That would be my number one thing. And along with being the toughest pocket passer, also one of the most aggressive, fearless decision makers there are in the NFL too. That's why I love watching Jared Goff. I don't sit there necessarily and wax poetically and go, oh, look at his release. Oh, look at that rifle spiral, right? He doesn't throw spirals all the time, right? Yeah. That's not what it is. It's not always sexy that way. But you can't deny the results. You can't do that. And, yeah, the aggressive nature came back to bite him in the ass a little bit in the playoff game. It was an organizational aggressive, came back to bite them all in the ass. That's my one issue with the Lions, as you know.
That and the 3,500 injuries on the defense.
Well, that hurt him, right. But, whether it was not going up 17 points in the NFC Championship game, Goff being a hair aggressive, Ben Johnson being a hair aggressive, calling reverse passes with Jameson Williams, right? That, to me, is what led to the demise of the Commanders game, right? And that just came back to bite them in the ass. And along with, like you're saying, they were fighting an uphill battle with all those injuries. It was tough. They knew the offense had to keep pace and score points, I think, to win games. I think they knew by the second drive of that Washington game, they were like, we're not going to stop them today. Yep. We're going to have to score a lot, right? That leads you to do things that are uncomfortable at times. But Jared Goff, I mean, it's an unbelievably aggressive decision maker who's fearless in throwing the ball into tight windows. And then along with that, he's famous for what? Consecutive throws without interceptions, or not throwing interceptions. And he's only thrown this many interceptions in the last, 19 months and all of that. That's pretty remarkable when you get down to it for the way they play and what they ask him to do. They're not dink and dunk by any stretch of the imagination, as you know. I mean, when you think about the Lions right now, I'm thinking Amon-Ra St. Brown over the middle for 25. Yep. I'm thinking Jameson Williams on a post route for 45. And I'm thinking, their check down is Laporta for a 10-yard gain, right? And that's not easy to play quarterback that way. I respect that and his ability to hang in the pocket. And nobody makes more completions about to get their ass whooped than Jared Goff in the NFL. And that's what I love about watching Jared Goff.
It'll be interesting to see exactly what changes here. We do have some exmo of a spiral for him. You say he doesn't throw a spiral. We may have some
We got some? I like it.
He has developed a spiral this year. So I think we do have Jared Goff at OTAs here. The Lions just had those. Maybe just wrapping up.
There it goes.
Now.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
See, there's your that was Electron, I think. That might have been Electron.
Oh yeah, my guy.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, listen, his motion's a little longer.
Yeah.
This is a spiral, though. You're right about that. It is a spiral. But you can see it doesn't spin real hard, right?
No,
you know what I mean?
RPMs.
Yeah,
right.
You can see, you see other quarterbacks who throw spirals like this, the ball probably spins twice as much.
Yeah.
But here's Laporta dropping it in. But again, this is what I'm talking about. Like what a throw, even in practice.
Yeah.
With pretty tight coverage. And he doesn't flinch. He's just like, he's open by a foot. Shoo, throws it. And it's pretty remarkable, too, when you talk about 8.6 yards per attempt, 4,600 yards, 4,600 yards on the ball, and 72% completion percentage.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about. It's not dink and dunk. Yeah. It's not at all. So that just speaks to what he does and how he plays. And, the interceptions were a little up this year. He had a few bad games, right?
Yeah, 8 of his 15 interceptions last year came in two games. 5
right?
on Sunday night, which they came back and won. And then the divisional loss versus Washington.
Yeah,
which they did not
so
win.
Again, it's amazing the way he's playing, and it's amazing where I was going to go with that too. That he's playing that way this day and age, 2025, and he doesn't really move all that well, right?
Yeah.
But he's very good at sliding in the pocket the right way and doing that. He's squashed the whole he doesn't throw good when the pocket's collapsing, or he doesn't throw good in the elements. That's all over, right? We don't have any of those questions about Jared Goff anymore. At least I don't. I've seen enough evidence to know, no, he's fine there. They've changed him. They've changed his mentality. They've changed his aura. They've given him confidence now to where, he thinks he's man, and he's going to lead that whole city to a Super Bowl. And I love that about him, and I think the Lions fans love that about him as well.
So the question will be, with Ben Johnson gone now, John Morton's come over there. He was a former assistant, so he's been around him before, so he's not an unfamiliar face.
Right.
But they say they're going to keep a lot of the same stuff with little tweaks along the edges. You know, John bring what he brings, but I mean that's the goal, right? When you have an offense that's that good, of course you don't want to change a whole lot. Yeah. Do you think that's in reality? Are they going to be able to do that?
Yeah, they don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No.
I think they can do it to a certain extent. You know, the rest is going to be like, we got to see it to believe it. Yeah. Ben Johnson is who he is because he's special. And Ben Johnson, I promise you, was not having all the coaches in his room going, hey, guys, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing that. This is why. These guys know that these other guys might be moving. I might be moving. They're not going to give them every trick of why I package this play with that player. Why do I call this play in this formation and then follow it up with that play or whatever. Those are things that are a skill and why certain guys are better at it than others, right? They know how to call plays in sequence the right play. They know to call a play in a certain moment just because they got a gut feeling or through their studies. That's a skill in itself, right? They know how to come up with plays during the week where you'd go, this isn't a real play, but I trust my ability to make it real, and nobody's doing this, and we're going to make it real this week. And now everybody's going to run it in football, and it's going to be a real play by the end of the season, right? I mean, like stumble bum and stuff like that. So, yeah, Johnny Morton's going to have to find his way. Don't reinvent the wheel. Do what you've been doing. I'm sure he'll have a few wrinkles. And then, yeah, can he tie it all together? I would say so. And I think Dan Campbell has a pretty good feel for how this offense works as well. So I don't think Detroit's going anywhere. They might have to work out a few kinks. Early, tough schedule.
Oh, it's
right?
Brutal schedule all the way through.
They could be one of those years where they actually have a worse record and they still end up in the NFC Championship game. I wouldn't be shocked.
I think it's almost guaranteed they'll have a worse record than last year. I mean, 15-2. So, yeah. And it's like, even if Ben Johnson did teach everything he knows to the guys around, I mean, the game's changing so much that you're going to have to develop new thoughts and new ideas and new creativity as you go.
Exactly right. You got to stay ahead of the game. Yeah, you want to stay with what you do good and do that, but you got to have a few new wrinkles and a new way to attack and do stuff like that. So we'll see. Like we talked about, you know, when the schedules came out, at the Packers are going to be chomping at the bit. The Packers have been owned by your Detroit Lions. It's at home. They're going to want to make a statement about the NFC North in Week 1. The Bears and Ben Johnson coming to town in Week 2. That's scary just because of the knowledge that he has of you. And you know he's going to have something special for you as far as a trick play or something crazy to try to screw you over. And then you get after that. I know we got the Browns Week 4, but the Ravens Week 3, the Bengals Week 5, the Chiefs Week 6, the Bucks Week 7, bye week, and then Vikings, Commanders, Eagles. I mean, almost every team we talk about there, except for the Browns and the Bears, are in a Super Bowl window. Not like, oh, they're a playoff team. I want to go, they're borderline Super Bowl type of teams.
Yeah.
So that's where it is going to be a little different for this Lions team this year.
The two easiest weeks they have, I think, are Week 12, Giants, and then the bye week, Week 8.
Right.
You know, in that order.
Right.
I think
you're funny. You're an asshole. We're going to be a fighter this year.
Okay, all right.
I'm not saying we're going to the playoffs, but we will not be just like you can roll over us and just chalk up a W against us. That's what I will say.
I'll pass that on.
All right. Yo, homies. What's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.